thus the domain of ideal sociable pleasure, of the world's delights unimpeded by irony, whose representatives were Bonnard and Matisse and Picasso, scarcely appears in painting anymore. It survives in the context of gay imagery in David Hockney's work, and if it no longer has its Mozarts, at least Hockney is its Cole Porter, which is no mean thing to be. Meanwhile, the hope of the Dadas, the Surrealists and the Constructivists that art could influence politics is gone. Perhaps the last major artist to think otherwise is a German, Joseph Beuys, a former Luftwaffe pilot whose happenings and manifestos and general celebrity as a Pied Piper of youth politics have turned him into a strangely anomalous figure, a protester against the German establishment whose work is invested in by half the bankers and financiers in West Germany.
But with the end of modern art, art starts from the foot. You know, with the end of modern art, art is not dying, art comes to birth. That is my idea. But then it is a real other understanding of art. It is an anthropological understanding of art. Everybody is an artist then.
Beuys' answer to the political decline of the aesthetic avant-garde was to define art as any kind of being or doing, rather than specifically making, and then to designate the whole social fabric, politics included, as what he called a social sculpture.
I think it is a basic metaphor for all social freedoms, but it shouldn't be only a metaphor. It should be in the daily life a real means to go in and to transform the power fields of the society.
Of course, it's one thing to wish that art had influence over events, and quite another to show that it actually does. Beuys' own work did not escape the machinery of the 70s, in which the meaning of all avant-gardes, socially directed or not, was effectively gutted by the market. But the work is often amazingly powerful. Beuys took glass cases and filled them with grimy mementos of the German past. A dried rat in a pail of straw, a hot plate with 2 blocks of fat sitting on the burners, chipped crockery, mummified sausages, sinister bits of metal and wire, and an old picture of a concentration camp. This piece is known as the Auschwitz box. Its intensity is such that one can hardly imagine a school of Beuys. The work is too personal for that, too haunted by memory. This may be the most expensive sculpture ever made, costing over $1 million to build. This is the tip of a work of art, or rather of 1/400th of a work of art, which stands in the New Mexico desert a couple of 100 miles from Albuquerque. 400 stainless steel rods, their tips forming a level plane of spikes 1 kilometre wide and a mile long, the whole thing laid out correct to 1/16th of an inch. Installation began on it in 1977, and it's substantially finished now, or rather insubstantially finished, because despite its enormous spread, the lightning field, as it's called, isn't really a mass at all, and you don't think of it in terms of body and substance, but rather delicacy and transparency, landscape, time, and above all, weather and light. The artist who conceived this work is Walter de Maria.
The place, the specific site, the fact that it's in New Mexico and not in California or in another place takes on a tremendous importance. and one feels the particular spirit of this place. The site was chosen because it was remote and isolated, more so than other places. There's a heavy incidence of lightning here during the summer months. The pointed tip serves as the direction which sends the invisible electric charge into the atmosphere to complete the circuit between nature itself and the work. The part of the content of the work is the ratio of people to space. So if we think of 4 to 6 people in one day walking through the field, they have a very private experience. Unfortunately, one can't often get a private enough experience in the museum, though the museum has its function.